Okay, Real AK74. This should be a rather simple review as you would assume. No rails, no crazy electronic trigger controls, no extended releases or switches, just wood, steel, and a little bit of plastic. But an E&L is more than that. Much more than that. I'm talking about legendary levels of more than that. You can be the guy who rags on everyone by offering the graceful words as, "My Crytek is still better!" But E&L is just expected to be better than every other AK out there. SEMA AKs are great rifles that people start off with, or even use forever thanks to their low cost, but a SEMA probably wouldn't keep together after being thrown off a small building. This one does. LCT Airsoft is probably the biggest competitor for E&L, and saying that just sparked the comments up. So let's just see for ourselves if this E&L AK74 Gen 2 is worth its price tag, and if I don't get executed for pointing out any flaws that I might find, thanks to Airsoft GI who sent me this rifle to take a look at. That's where you can get this rifle for yourselves while they last for about $290. Links will be provided down below in the description. And with that read and said, let's kick this review off where we always begin, with the unboxing. For this box, we get one of the best presentations that Airsoft has to offer. On the outside, we have the standard graphic covered cardboard box, but inside is where we get all the goodies that E&L has included, like the quality certification with velocity readings and stamps of quality control. This package will also have the manual inside, but I don't want to rip that bag open since this is not exactly my rifle. The certificate alone is already something special that E&L includes. I respect that kind of confidence. Then we have a plastic oil bottle and a real cleaning rod. That's another big plus for this unboxing, but don't use this cleaning rod on your airsoft guns. This is for a real rifle, and this would be a death sentence for your inner barrel if you use it on it. It definitely is cool, and I love that it's included, but it's pretty useless for this gun. Thank you for including it though, and thanks for the mid-cap magazine as well. That's something you generally only see with high-end guns, which I'll say this E&L is. Then after these treats have been appreciated, put them off to the side so we can now take out the AK74 from its well-padded box. So far, I'm pretty impressed, and we haven't even gotten to the rifle yet. This is a very oily rifle that is going to need to be cleaned first. The oil is not as abundant as it was on the first gen E&Ls or the Spartan rifles, but it's still apparent. I love the oil that E&L smears on the rifles though. It adds to their product's authenticity. It makes this rifle feel more real than what it is. Just the way the wood smells, how the stamped steel body is riveted, how this rifle feels like a real AK. That makes E&Ls the prime competitor to beat. If you want to make the next best Airsoft AK, then you need to get yourself a couple E&Ls and a couple LCTs and just study them and figure out why they're so special. What makes them so good from their exteriors and to their interiors? Nothing rattles on this AK74. I had to even break in the rear sling loop just so it would swivel properly. The entire rifle is about 8 pounds of steel and wood with plastic at the end of the flash hider and making up the motor grip, but that's it. The steel AK74 flash hider is tightly fitted and doesn't budge at all. But if you can get it off with some muscle or some tools, then you'll find 24mm threads underneath like you would find on the real rifle. So that would mean that standard accessories that are threaded for 14mm counterclockwise will not fit on this rifle, sadly. As for the rest of the exposed metal parts up front, the underbarrel cleaning rod is removable of course with a bit of work, and the front sight post is finally rock solid with not a single micron of wobble in any direction to throw off any shots. With this and the rear sight that is well detailed with painted characters and gnarled surfaces, you get the average AK sight picture that most of us should be used to. It's nothing special, but it's what's going to get the job done. If you don't like these sights though, you could always throw on the compatible rail mount that will utilize this rail on the left side of the body. Again, this part is attached to the AK74 very solidly, so you won't need to worry about any wobble here. This does go for the beautiful wood stock and wooden handguard, the pistol grip, the trigger guard, and even the fire selector as well. The fire selector is actually quite stiff, and I do like that. If I haven't made it clear yet, you can use most E&Ls as a baseball bat if you'd like to. Remember how strong the LCT G3 was? Yeah, the same thing goes for this rifle. The detail they put into this replica is very impressive, from the subtle markings to the storage for the cleaning rod in the stock. You'd even find a spring deep inside the stock for that toolkit to rest against, and the spring door pressed against the metal butt plate is there as well, and it does function. Now let's pop open the dust cover to expose the small titanium connections. I like how these connections are located not too far from the dust cover release button, which gives you a lot of room up top for either a stick battery or a candy bar size LiPo battery, but like most AKs, the mock bolt has a lot of play in it, as you can see here. That doesn't detract much from how I feel about this replica though. This is still without a doubt the best AK that I've ever featured on this channel in regards to wood quality, fitment, strength, even smell. We should all know by now the legend of E&L externals. Behind the bolt, however, is the expected AK style hop-up adjustment. With this hop-up and some good .28 gram BBs, I would have expected a little bit more out of this E&L AK74, especially since it's got a full-length barrel, and I did make sure to clean it out before doing this range test. During this test though, I was a bit surprised I never had a magazine fitment issue, like most other AKs that I've ever tested, so I turned this AK74 over to see this little plastic spacer screwed onto the hop-up. This block makes over-insertion of magazines impossible, so you won't have to worry about smashing a magazine out of your gun so you can get back on target after a botched reload. Releasing magazines are still super easy, and thank you E&L for making the magazine well tight enough to cut down on magazine wobble. That is definitely something that most AKs are plagued by. I've seen people do push-ups with their magazines in their E&Ls. I can shake this rifle by the mag and nothing happens, so grab a chair and just enjoy your E&L. Heading off to the chronograph and a bottle of .2 gram BBs, I got readings of around 360 feet per second, so it's a little too hot for most US CQB fields. However, this rifle would be more suited for field anyway. 18 rounds a second was pretty nice to see as well, with an 11.1 Titan power battery inside, and consistency was really good on this E&L.
But the gun doesn't shoot anymore. Yeah, that's right. After the second day of this review, this E&L is beginning to do the same thing that I've seen two others do. Why is this rifle jamming and making these god-awful sounds with its own magazine now? I use G&G BBs, Classic Army BBs, Elite Force BBs, and even high-power Airsoft BBs, some of the best on the market, in all sorts of weights, and only when I use the magazine inside of the AK74 does it sound like this.
Okay, that was a very strange sound. I feel like I'm going to end up destroying this rifle if I continue doing this. So, review is going great, but I have to end it here.
So what's that, like 3 attempts at trying to make an E&L Airsoft review now? I'm sure I'm just having the worst luck at reviewing these rifles. But damn, even after cleaning the inner barrel of the packing grease, I still get this issue. I need someone to just tell me. I need someone to confirm to me that I'm not allowed to make a great review on these rifles. If E&L AKs can hit beyond 150 feet or even 200 feet consistently and look and feel just as great as mine on the outside, then here's my verdict. Buy one. It's the best Airsoft AEG AK out there that I know of. When it comes to E&L Airsoft, we're talking about high-end rifles with some of the best externals on the market. As for the internals, we get a new quick spring change system behind the gearbox with an M120 spring inside. Then we have a one-piece cylinder with an O-ring nozzle, which greatly helps air seal and consistent velocity. Then we have CNC cut gears, 9mm ball bearings, and silver coated wires. All this makes for a pretty solid build on the inside, and makes trigger responses pretty good for something without any electronics helping the responses. The biggest letdown is of course my luck in trying to get one that shoots worth its cost, but that's just life sabotaging E&L to this reviewer. You know, it's honestly pretty hard to find anything that I hate on here. I mean, I can point out how the stock isn't all that even behind the pistol grip, but what else after that? The bolt jiggles? There is just so much for me to like here, and not many things I can pick on. However, that's where you guys get to chime in the comments. For all the longtime E&L owners, what would make your rifles better? Would you like to see an E&L RPK like me? What would you change? Or should we just start using E&L rifles as sledgehammers? This is a rifle that I just might not send back to Airsoft GI due to how well put together it is, as long as I can figure out how to fix my feeding and jamming issues. But if you'd like to get one of these for yourself, then go ahead and check out the links down below in the description so you can pick one up on airsoftgi.com. I need to thank everyone right now who requested for me to review a proper E&L. I just hope that it's truly worth its slogan.
Also, big shoutouts go to these past sexy commenters, including the Notification Squad and the USAirsoft channel donators. All you guys make this channel into what it is now and will be the drivers of how it progresses. I hope you enjoyed my review over this E&L Gen 2 AK74, and I hope you have an amazing day and or night. But until that next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I will be sure to see you all next time. After trying out 3 different brands of BBs, 2.8s, 2.5s, 2s, and 2 magazines, I'm having some kind of hop-up issue. I believe that I'm rolling the bucking inside. However, this is not the first E&L to do this. I've had 2 other E&L rifles do this, and this would also be, I've also had a Spartan rifle do this, if you remember a review that we did a long time ago. So, review was going great, and now this has happened after me just doing the range test yesterday. The range test went perfectly, but now I can't really get any distance, and feeding issues are happening every other shot.
Well, the yellow is just a little season. So it's a little thermal in the back right here. Otherwise, you get that.
Okay, that was a very strange sound. I feel like I'm going to end up destroying this rifle if I continue doing this. So, review is going great, but I have to end it here.